Astroworld almost immediately. Fans started to line up early in the morning, and by the afternoon, they already started pushing past security checkpoints and into the venue. There were a reported 50,000 fans in attendance, many of which snuck in. There were 755 security officers that were staffed by Live Nation, and they were present alongside 528 police officers. By 4 p.m. that day, it's reported that at least 54 patients were treated on site by medical staff, and this is all reported in an activity log by the Houston Police Department. It's also at this point in the report that they made note of dangerous crowd conditions. Trouble really started to begin later in the evening when the crowd started to amp up for Travis Scott's show. There was no performer on the second stage at the time, which meant that all 50,000 fans started to assemble outside of the main stage waiting for Travis. As the countdown to the performance started, the packed crowd started to compress towards the front of the stage. At approximately 9 p.m., only minutes after Travis Scott started performing, fans close to the stage could be seen struggling to stay on their feet. Less than 10 minutes in, and groups throughout the crowd started to show distress. It's not until 9:25 that Travis stops the show for the first time to get help for someone in the crowd. He says, "Somebody passed out right there," and then continues to perform. He ends up having to stop 2 more times due to the chaos ensuing in the crowd and an ambulance attempting to drive through, which Miss Kylie posted on her story. 21-year-old attendee Fatima Munoz said, "I had fell right on the floor, and that's when everyone started tumbling down, and I tried so hard to get up." She goes on to describe a dog pile of people falling on top of her and the feeling of being unable to move or escape. By 9:38, additional Houston police officers and firefighters respond to reports of a mass casualty incident. People were being crushed against the stage, and many had collapsed by this point, but Travis Scott is still performing. 9:42 comes, and Travis stops the show again to draw attention to another person in need of medical assistance. He still continues to perform until 10:12, despite reports that the promoter, Live Nation, agreed to cut the set short. Travis ended up performing a full 25-song set. His lawyers state that he had no idea what was happening in the crowd. At this point, over 300 people were being treated by medical personnel on site, and an additional 25 were transported to the hospital. The following day, on November 6th, the rest of the festival is canceled, and 13 people remain in the hospital. November 5th comes, and trouble begins at Astroworld almost immediately. Fans started to line up early in the morning, and by the afternoon, they already started pushing past security checkpoints and into the venue. There were a reported 50,000 fans in attendance, many of which snuck in. There were 755 security officers that were staffed by Live Nation, and they were present alongside 528 police officers. By 4 p.m. that day, it's reported that at least 54 patients were treated on site by medical staff, and this is all recorded in an
By now you've heard of the Travis Scott Astroworld tragedy. 8 people were killed and hundreds more were injured in a crowd crush type injury. Let me explain what that is and how you can try and protect yourself. In a large enough crowd, the crowd can actually compress your chest wall, making it impossible to breathe. Essentially, you suffocate standing around other people. And while you might think you're strong enough to hold other people back, I can promise with thousands of people pushing, it is not possible. Now, of course, the safest option is to get out of a crowd if you notice that it's getting too tight, but here are some other things that might help. Number 1 is you should keep your arms out in front of you. Keep a personal space or bubble. This is not always possible if you've ever been to a big concert, but it's one option. Second of all, stay off the ground at all costs. If you fall, get up immediately, and if you see anyone else down and can help, get them up. You just might